This video has been given to you by your therapist in order to address the swelling in your hand. Before starting this exercise regime, I'd ask you to remember that you will be moving fluid around your body at a rate that is greater than is normal, and so you may benefit from drinking extra water both before and after this routine. For the purposes of this video, I will imagine that it is your left hand that is swollen. As will have been explained to you at your appointment with your therapist, we need to clear this area of the body if we are going to make a sustainable impact on the swelling in your hand. One of the main ways that lymph moves around the body is by deep breathing. And so I'd ask you to take 10 deep breaths. Deep breathing is most effective if you elongate the out-breath rather than force the in-breath in. And so if I illustrate, on my next out-breath I am breathing out and out and out and out and out until my lungs are completely empty, and then I'm doing nothing, just letting the in-breath in as normal, and then once again breathing out on the out-breath and out and out and out, and then just letting the in-breath come in. We're going to do a total of 10 deep breaths, and if you're familiar with this, then please continue. I'll continue to talk while you do the deep breaths. And so, if this isn't clear, it may be useful for you to imagine that you are fogging a mirror. So imagine you have a mirror in front of you, and on your next out-breath you are making the mirror misty. And then you merely let the in-breath in again, and then once again, on the next out-breath you fog the mirror as much as you can, and then just let the in-breath in. And I imagine you will have got to about breath 5 by now, so just another tip is to imagine that you have one of those hoops that children have that they dip in washing up liquid and then blow a bubble. So another way of doing this would be to just wait for an out-breath and imagine that you're blowing the largest bubble that you can while you still have breath in your body, and then simply letting the in-breath in. And I imagine that by now you will have taken 10 deep breaths, and so we'll start on clearing this area further by doing some simple neck exercises. And if you wish to, you continue deep breathing. And so we take the head forward so the chin comes towards the chest. We could do that on an out-breath, and then we bring the head up to centre again, perhaps on the in-breath, and on the out-breath, looking over the right shoulder, and then on the in-breath back to the centre, and then out-breath, chin to chest, and then in-breath back to the centre. Notice how slow this is. Looking over the left shoulder now, perhaps on the out-breath, back to the centre on the in-breath, and chin to chest, back to centre. This time taking the right ear towards the right shoulder, feeling the stretch on the left side of your neck, and then back up to centre. Each time you get to centre, chin to chest, and then up to the centre again. The left ear to the left shoulder, and then up to the centre, and the final, chin to chest, and up to centre. The next thing to do is to shrug your shoulders, so lifting your shoulders slowly up towards your ears, perhaps as you breathe in, and then as you breathe out, shoulders come down. Again, notice the slowness of the exercise and repeating. If it's not working to mix the breathing with the exercise, that's absolutely fine. Just switch to normal breathing. And then shrugging the shoulders up for a final time, and then releasing them down. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to clear as much lymph as we can in the trunk area, so that there's no competition between the swelling in your hand and elsewhere in the body. And so in the trunk area there are many lymph capillaries, so if we can clear them, then we're more likely to succeed. And so I'd like you to twist your body, and you can use one or either of your hands on your legs or on the chair to assist you. Or if you need to, if that's not possible for you, then just twist the trunk as far as you can without any assistance. So first to the right, and then slowly again, noting how slow this is, then to the left, and I'll illustrate how you can help yourself. So you could just give yourself a little bit of an extra twist by pushing on the side of your leg, and then round to the centre again. We're going to repeat 3 times. You could help yourself by pushing on the side of the chair, pulling yourself round for a second time, and then back to the centre again, and then round to the other side. And if it's within your limits and you're comfortable doing so, you could also use the back of the chair, so pulling yourself round even further by using the back of the chair. Okay. So as I said in the beginning, we're going to imagine that the affected side is the left, so the left hand is swollen, but obviously please switch accordingly. And so assuming that the left hand is swollen, place the right hand in the armpit, just against, I'll just illustrate, just against the wall of the rib cage, so that the top bit of the hand is actually in the armpit. And in that position you make 20 stationary circles, so that you get a pumping action in your armpit. So you should feel quite a deep pumping action in your armpit. So that's about 6 circles, and I'm just going to turn around to the front again, and that's about 8, 9, 10, and so on. And in the armpit, the lymph nodes are quite deep, and so you can use what would be the equivalent of the weight of your whole hand. With the armpit massage, the weight of your hand should be as if you were rubbing lotion into your skin. So you want the lotion to be absorbed. So we're up to about 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And so I'm going to show you now a simple exercise, because as you've been told, exercise also moves the lymph. But if you wanted to replace this with an exercise that a physiotherapist has given you, or an occupational therapist has given you, that would be wholly appropriate. But if not, then this simple twisting exercise will help the lymph in the upper arms move back to this area and clear. And so this exercise is a little like turning a doorknob, an imaginary doorknob, in the floor. And we're going to do this 10 times. Again, a very slow movement. So that's 8, 9, again, just to reiterate, if there are other similar exercises, for example, retracting and protracting the scapula, moving the arms out to either side, etc., that you've been given, you could do that now. But just to proceed with the edema management, the next thing we're going to do is massage the inside crease of your elbow on the affected side. And this needs to be with about the weight of half your hand, if you can imagine that. So not full hand, just off a little bit. And your guide to pressure at the elbow crease is as if you're stroking a kitten, half the weight of your hand. And the circles in this case will go in this direction. Okay, so I'm circling down to the wrist and I'm bringing it up to the armpit. Down to the wrist, up to the armpit, and then start again. Down to the wrist, up to the armpit, and we're doing 20. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Having done that, once again, if you've been given exercises by your physiotherapist or occupational therapist that involve the forearm, you could now do those exercises. If not, I'll give you 2 exercises to do that will clear the lymph. And so the first one is to imagine that you're playing an accordion, so your hands go out to either side and then back, and out to either side and then back. Now we've said the left hand is the affected hand, and so maybe at the moment you have no mobility in that hand. If that's the case, I'd like you to take hold of that hand and assist it with the right hand, like so. And only go out, of course, within your comfort levels. If that's a problem, it's always worth doing these exercises on the unaffected side, because that will also clear lymph. And so these exercises are all adaptable. So we're doing 10 of these, and I imagine that that is about 8, 9, 10. Okay, rest if you need to. And then the next exercise will be simply turning your palms down and then up. Again, 10 times. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now we come to work on the affected hand itself. And for your hand massage, when we finally get to the hand, you may want to take a cushion or a rolled up towel and just support your hand more comfortably. And we need to do this very lightly, because the lymph structures, as I will have explained, are very fragile in the peripheries or the ends of our bodies, and we want the lymph to go through them in order to clear. And so, considering that the affected side is on the left, we place the right palm on the left as if we were stroking a kitten, so with minimal weight. And then we do stationary circles again. And so I'll exaggerate a little bit, but basically we're doing towards the fingertips and then up towards the elbow. Towards the fingertips, up to the elbow. Towards the fingertips, up to the elbow. So it's about 4, 5, 6. And notice that my whole hand is covering the back of the hand. As much of your right hand covers the hand as possible. So we're on 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 20. Okay, and now working on the fingers. If the thumb is swollen, you would do the same on the thumb. I'm going to assume that it's just the 4 digits, the 4 fingers that are swollen. You now take the finger from the base and you're literally just pulling the skin up and down again in stationary circles. So that circle is going up to the knuckle, down to the leg, up to the knuckle, down to the leg. So we do 5 there, and then we move along a little bit, up to the knuckle, down to the leg, up to the knuckle, down to the leg, and so on. And the weight here is the weight of about a 5p piece, so it's really just moving the skin. I'm going to move along a bit again. The skin over the bone and the muscles of the fingers. Okay, we're going to the next one. And again, just lifting the skin up from the leg to the top of the finger or the knuckle, leg, knuckle, etc. Keeping it slow. And you will have been asked to have done these exercises before you do any given routine that you have got from your physiotherapist or occupational therapist. And so the other exercises that you're doing, or even if you yourself have an exercise routine that you perform daily, will feed into your edema management. So at the end of this routine, you could then go into your personal exercise routine, because the lymph is moved by exercise, particularly by aerobic exercise. Okay. Finally, the whole of the right hand covers the left, so you're sweeping up using as much of your hand as possible, a little bit of a massage at the elbow, a little bit of a massage at the armpit, sweeping across. Fairly light, about half the weight of your hand. And as many of these as you have time for, up to 20. So I'm going to do about 5, but you can carry on. So that's 4. And that's 5. As I say, you could carry on without sleeping. Remember again to drink plenty of water. Thank you.